Hi, everybody. It's Rolf Gates here, and I'm bringing in Hawa and Nikki. So let's see. Let's bring in Nikki. And so we'll be talking about the training that we'll be doing in the full majority YTT. And so I just invited Nikki and now. Hey, Nikki.
Hey, Ralph, how are you?
I'm good. I'm inviting. Let's see. I'm inviting Hawa now. I'm inviting Hawa.
I love it.
Yeah, I know. So I'm hitting the wrong buttons, but now here I go. I just invited Hawa, so he should be there. He should be coming in, and yeah, let's get started. So I'm gonna scroll this thing down, and so we're good. We're good. And here's Hawa. Hey,
Hey, the gang is here. I
you
love
have
it.
no idea. You have no idea. Yeah. So big win here. Terms of me and tech. Guys, thank you so much for coming. I'd like to welcome everyone. My name is Rolf Gates, and I'm the director of the Kripalu School of Yoga. So we run about 20 trainings a year, 300-hour trainings, 200-hour trainings, and I'm extremely excited about we have a global majority YTT, and you are looking at 3/4 of the faculty. There's Hawa Kassan and Nikki Myers. These are dear friends of mine who are going to be on faculty at our training that begins on February 27th. There'll be 3 months of online weekends, and then we finish the first week of June for an immersion here at Kripalu. So the people you'll be training with for a few months online, you get to spend 5 days together with in the Berkshires in the spring. So yeah, so that's the overall shape. I thought I would um, talk to Nikki and Hawa about why this training now. And so, yeah, let's let Nikki speak first. Hi, Nikki.
Hi, y'all. Good to be here.
Why this training now, Nikki?
You know, um, this training creates a space where, the global majority can really see themselves reflected in the teachings of yoga, right? I was writing this out the other day, a space where belonging and representation and lived experience aren't extra. They aren't add-ons. They aren't any of that kind of stuff. They're really at the heart of it, right? It's a place. So often we practice in places that don't necessarily mirror our stories or our roots, and this training kind of shifts that and turns it all around, where all the voices are recognized and the wisdom, the deep wisdom and ways of knowing are brought to the forefront. And it's just about reclaiming yoga as this living, breathing practice for all of us.
Mhm. Wow, Nikki, that was beautiful. I have some questions about your background with Global Majority Trainings, but I thought I'd hear from Hawa next.
Yeah.
Hawa, why this training now?
Oh, well, first of all, thank you, Rolf, Nikki. So good to see y'all. Peace, everyone out there in digital online land who's tuned in. We're so excited to be bringing this training to the world. For many of us, for a very long time, we have been in spaces where those who identify with melanated skin, those who are BIPOC identifying individuals, we have not really had a space in the world of yoga in the United States of America. Let's just be real right now. This training is an opportunity for us to be a part of creating a community where we can share that lived experience, the lived experience of undergoing and being a part of the generations of work it's taken to get us to a place where in society we can even be looked at or recognized or acknowledged as people that belong in a world that was not really created for that similar belonging to take place. So I think this call out is for those that are listening, and for those that are listening, even if you don't identify as BIPOC, this is an opportunity for you to share with your friends that there's an entire faculty, there's an entire staff of teachers that can hold you and can hold us in this incredible journey of learning the roots of yoga, learning how to practice and embody the practice that the world needs right now. How do we show up in the world when the world is in many ways feeling like it's coming undone? And how do we lean on each other in our life experiences? So that's why I'm a part of this. Creating this space is so important. And so I hope those that have not felt called to a training in the past, that this is a moment for you to feel called to a training, because now you can know that those that are leading you will understand perhaps some of the trauma and the pain that you've been working through in a world that is not always set up for us to succeed.
Thank you, Hala. Um, the next question is about experiences you've had in a BIPOC space. My first experience was in, I think, probably 2015 at Spear Rock Meditation Center. They've had a BIPOC training now probably about 25 years that happens every summer, and I got to be on faculty for their 20th. That was quite something. And I remember, I was leading asana classes as well as teaching meditation, and it was about 100 folks there, and a lot of them young folks from the Bay Area, because Spear Rock is outside of San Francisco. And these are silent retreats. You're not supposed to talk, but you can write a letter to the teachers if there's something pressing. And usually you'll get like 10 letters, 10 notes in the course of a 9-day training. I got about 40. And they were all people saying that they had taken asana classes, yoga classes mostly in the Bay Area over the years, but they'd never had a BIPOC yoga teacher. And so having me teach, and I'd been teaching at that point for a long time, like 20 years. And it hadn't occurred to me the impact of having a BIPOC teacher. But all these people are writing to say how much difference it made. And so it got me to commit to training BIPOC teachers. And 2018 was my first BIPOC training. So I've been doing this for a little while. And so I wanted to hear, like, what was the impetus for each of you? And that was the impetus. It was like, I'm 51, 50 years old at the time. It was like, and I was getting these notes from 25-year-olds, 30-year-olds. And so to me, they're like young people. You may not feel young if you're 25 or 30, but for me, there's like I'm like an elder at this point to these folks. And they're saying, hey, can you cut some trail for us? Can you make our lives a little easier? And the answer was, yeah, I'll look into it. And so, 10 years later, I'm still helping to pioneer trainings for BIPOC folks. And one of the key reasons that I took this job out 2 years ago, and one of the deciders for whether or not to be the director of the School of Yoga was the fact that they already had a GMYTT training. And so I could continue my work that I've been doing, privately as a part of this larger organization. So that's kind of my backstory. I'm like, why am I doing this? It's like that. It was really a response to the vulnerability of these young people writing me notes on a meditation retreat 10 years ago. So Nikki, why? What brings you to this training? What brings you to this calling?
Yeah, when I think about that, it's kind of similar in ways to what you were describing a moment ago. I remember as a relatively new teacher and focusing my efforts into communities here where I live in Indianapolis. And oftentimes, who would show up at those classes were folks from the BIPOC community, and how shocked they were to see a Black yoga teacher as the person who was showing up and coming into the community and teaching. I mean, and there were all these questions about it, and and all of these things, and and it kind of blew my mind that there was that level of shock and response and all of that kind of thing to it. And when that happened, it lit something in me to say something's wrong with this picture, right? That there's a gap here and there's something wrong. And then the other one was the experience, actually, Rolf, with you and the work that we did together in forming Communities Rising, and to be in the role of holding this group of teachers who had BIPOC folks who identified, this is what I want to do, and I want to take this back into my own community. And just the experience of holding that, and part of the experience was it's not just learning, right? It's unlearning, right? Unlearning the systems that keep us separate, unlearning the internalized things that oftentimes we just get bombarded with, and the messages that we get bombarded with all the time, and unlearning those things to come back to what we know is the wholeness of who it is that we truly are. And a lot of that was the unlearning of it. And it was just such an amazing and beautiful experience. And so when invited into this circle in order to do that again, I was without question and without hesitation a yes.
Yeah, and I'm so honored that you did say yes. Thank you, Nikki.
It was such good work, right? It was such good work, and I look forward to just expanding that, and I know it will be. We got Howard with us, so it's good. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so thank you, Nikki. And so Howard, speak a little bit about, you have already, but the motivation, I think our best motivation comes from a sense of compassion, kind of a
Mm,
spontaneous sense of compassion uh, to serve a
mm.
community, to serve individuals. And that's what kind of got me moving, was the notes I was getting from those young people. And so speak a little bit about the motivation here for you personally.
Oh, thanks, Rolf. And thank you, Nikki. I love how you brought in the unlearning. And, I'm thinking about how, for me, Rolf, my journey started as a classroom teacher, right? So I've been teaching yoga for over, 24 years now. But I actually started my work in education as a high school teacher, working in inner city DC public schools. So by the time I became a yoga teacher, I'd already had years and years in the classroom as an educator, as a public school teacher. So at that same time, I started a nonprofit organization in Washington, DC, that specifically has been serving and serves brown and black youth in Washington, DC. Um, and so often, in our communities, there's a lot of incredible initiatives that are not necessarily like led by or including or represented with the people that are from those neighborhoods, the people that grew up in those streets, the people that listen to the same music or understand the same lingo. It's just that sort of gap can create a big barrier to the young people that I've been serving and working with for 2 decades to really feel like this is something for them, this is something that can excite them. I remember going into I was doing work in a youth detention facility, a youth prison for many years outside of DC, and I would go in and be working with these young men under 18 years old who had never seen somebody who looked like them that was practicing meditation and teaching them deep breathing and yoga. And the only way that they associated their work, or the only words that they had to associate to yoga, were like the covers of the yoga journal magazines back then, which were just all, uniformed, homogenous, like just white women on the cover of yoga journal. And they just didn't think yoga was for them. That was just the sentiment. So when they saw me come in, and here's this guy that is interested about something that they didn't think was for them and is introducing them to this thing, all of a sudden there's this new excitement. There's an opportunity to connect to something in a way that was more visceral, and felt more tangible for them. That was kind of my work, has been serving these communities for most of my whole career. And even in the yoga space, I've seen it in the yoga studios where, the opportunities that we have as BIPOC teachers to really, really build and hold spaces for each other is has been sorely missed. And so I could not think of anything more important than having more teachers of color, of the global majority, that are able to go and be in the communities and serve the communities, because I know how transformational it's been with the young people that I've worked with. And through the years, over the past many years, I've been a part of helping to curate BIPOC spaces. And every time it happens, the amount of growth it's really tremendous and palpable. So that's why I said yes, and that's why I'm here.
Wow. Thank you, Hawa. So we have about 3 minutes, believe it or not. And I was asked to do 20 minutes, and we have about 3 minutes. We each have about a minute apiece to talk about, just to give people a vision. So my vision to you folks watching is, so we had graduation about a year ago with our last training. So our last training, and they have a practice teach on Wednesday, and they graduate on Friday. So yeah. Is that right? Yeah, they graduate 2 days later. And it was, so it's like first week of December, heavy snowflakes coming down, and they taught all day, and they taught beautifully. And they'd been online, and then they got together on that Sunday night. They'd been together for a few days, and then we just hit it out of the park. And there's just nothing like a moment like that when a cohort comes together and holds each other in the possibility that they intended when they started, and that's the image. And so I just hope you're there. I hope that you get this. There won't be any snowflakes in June, but I just know that it was so compelling what that cohort created, and it was a life-changing experience for me personally. And it is every time you watch a training like this, the teachers step up and hold space. It changes something in the world, I think. Nikki, a vision from your experience with BIPOC trainings.
Yeah. Um, when particularly people of color teach from the fullness of their truth, right? It just, the ripple effect of that is just tremendous. We bring our rhythm, our languages, our music, our stories, and then that adds to, again, the fullness of what yoga really is. Our study, particularly from my lens in addiction, right, and the work that I do relative to addiction, it's the study of disconnection. I mean, really, the whole addiction thing is this big study of disconnection. And this looks so much for me as wholeness, as a way of yoga becomes whole and inclusive and all those things again. And that's, I yearn for that in so many ways. And I see this as a ripple effect for that.
Thank you, Nikki. Bringing it home, Hawa.
Yeah, I mean, I think all I would say in this last minute we have is, if you've been looking for some teachers to study with, uh, Rolf Gates, Meditations from the Mat, the OG. You got Nikki, we got Palin, you got Hawa. We're out here, and we're ready for you. We'd love to have you train with us next year. It starts, early in February. So we are excited to build this container to support you in becoming an embodied teacher and somebody who can then go into your community and continue to serve more and more people through your craft. And we're not here to be dogmatic. I think a lot of what Nikki, you're saying that resonates so deeply with me is like, there's a lived experience here that really shapes how we even interpret the teachings and how do we apply ancient teachings to the modern day, and how do we make sure that they're relevant to our current lives. And that's the kind of training this is going to be. It's going to be really really going to give you the tools and the skills and the somatic embodiment that will help keep you anchored in times of turbulence and in times of change. So that's what I'm excited about. I hope to see all of you for the training.
Wow. Thank you, Hawa. Thank you, Nikki. Yeah, we begin February 27th. It's 6 weekends online every other week, pretty much. So that's the tempo from the beginning of February into May, every other weekend online. And then we have a 5-day immersion first week of June. I really hope to see you there. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to kripalu.org, or you can reach out to me personally at rolfg@kripalu.org if you have any questions about the training. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, partners. I love it.
Thanks everyone for coming.
Aho.
Bye for now.